Hello, professionals. My name is Rico Aladdin, and I'm the founder of Professional Lunch. Today, we have David Richman, an NDSU basketball coach, here in the studio for a very special professional lunch. He allowed me to call him Dave. So, Dave, welcome to the show.
I appreciate the opportunity, Rico. Yeah, the David is a scary term. That's what my mother and my wife call me. So if you start calling me David, I'm going to think I'm in big trouble.
Oh, okay. So I'll make sure I call you Dave because I don't want you to get in trouble here, at least not on Professional Lunch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. So, this is the first time you are on Professional Lunch. So the Professional Lunch audience does not know you. So please tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, no, thank you for that opportunity. The area of Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo, where we currently live, and in the Red River Valley, growing up in Wapato, North Dakota, is obviously a special place to not only myself but my wife, and we love the community. To be able to raise 4 daughters here is the challenge that is raising 4 daughters. But what a wonderful community to do it in. My resume, Rico, is probably different than a lot of other professionals or coaches from a standpoint that I've only really been at one place. Now, I've been really fortunate and afforded the opportunity to have a lot of great mentors come through NDSU, other coaches. And so that's worked out tremendously well for me to learn from them, to grow from them, to learn from their mistakes, to learn from their successes and all those things. But, I'm 45. I'm an NDSU grad myself. I absolutely love what I do. That doesn't mean it doesn't come with some challenges and some tough days. But I think anything you do in life, there's plenty of challenges, and then you have to find the rewards within that. And certainly this profession affords me both of those opportunities.
Wonderful. You mentioned quite a few things here that I like. Mentors, because, in the words of Shelley Carlson, I have a sea of mentors myself.
Yeah.
And so, we'll talk about that a little later. So how long have you been involved in sports, starting from college to where you are now?
Yeah, going back to your previous question, I guess sitting as a coach, I was extremely fortunate with my parents are 2 of my biggest, if not my biggest influences. And my dad was a college football coach, so I've been around the sports athletic environment. But on the other hand, my mother was an elementary counselor. And in today's age, I think there's more counseling, there's more psychological, there's more mental and emotional things and a lot of times that you're dealing with in 18 to 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old young men than it is actually the coaching side of the X's and O's, the basketball side. So, my mentors have truly been my parents, the example that they set. How long have I been in athletics? Pretty much since I can remember, from now being directly involved in the coaching side of things. That's been the better part of 20 plus years now at North Dakota State. But growing up on the football fields in Wapato, North Dakota, with my dad's teams, being in the coaches' vans, being on the buses, those things, it's really consumed me, and it's a fabric of who I am.
Wow. So you have been in playing sport, but how long have you been in coaching?
Yeah. How long have I been in coaching? I was a pretty average player, so I only played 1 year of junior college basketball, and that was 98, 99, and pretty much ever since then. So since 99 and all the way up through 2024 that we sit here today, Rico, I've been in and around the game in a coaching capacity one way or another, whether it's a manager, student coach, assistant coach, associate head coach, and for the last 11 years as the head coach at North Dakota State.
Wow. Wonderful. So now this question, you probably either get it from, before, maybe many times, maybe you haven't gotten it. So describe for me what you do as a coach.
Well, contrary to what my wife thinks, I don't just twirl a whistle around my fingers. Really, you do everything. I think there's so many life skills that are needed to be a coach. There's relationship building. There's counseling. There's the fortitude to challenge somebody, to discipline them, to hold them accountable. There is mentorship to young men. There is love that we talk about a lot of times. There is the endurance to handle success. There's the endurance to handle adversity. You name it. The recruiting aspect is a big part of what we do, and we've even taken it from a recruiting term to a selection term, where we call our team a family. And as much as a recruit and their family are recruiting us, we have the opportunity to select them. And it's something that we take very serious in talking about who we are and making sure that we're selecting the right people that fit into our families.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, the part of this conversation today is to talk about how getting involved in sport can help young people in their professional life.
Yeah.
And you mentioned quite a few skills that that can be transferred from being involved in sport to the professional world. And this is where we want to take the conversation. So, and I want, if you want me to follow up on that, I would ask you if you have a coaching style. Do you have
Coaching style. Well, hopefully there's a hunger and humility to it.
Okay.
Where there's a consistency to it. I think it's unfair for me to judge how I'm doing as a coach. I would want our athletes to speak to that. The same message that I'm preaching to our guys, whether it's a basketball message, a life message, what they need to be doing in the classroom. Am I walking? Those steps from that standpoint, the same things that we're talking about. I would also tell you we're very intense. It's a hard-working, joyful experience is our goal. We need to make sure we're grinding and working every day towards a betterment. Yet the joy comes from the journey. There are 365 days in a year. We only compete on 30 or 35 of those days, and so we need to make sure those other 330 days or so are very rewarding. And it's something that you need to find that balance of challenge and joy, and making that not even a balance, making that blended together, if that makes sense.
Wow, wonderful. So it's you mentioned it's tense. So walk me through how you get ready for a season when you when you have those games coming up, and then how do you get ready for that? How do you prepare for that?
Well, I think the preparation really starts after the season, where because you are consumed with something so intensely from late September all the way hopefully through mid to late March, you need to make sure you're stepping away from at times, clearing some mental space, clearing some emotional space, clearing some energy to go out there and just fully consume yourself into something for the next 6-7 months of your life. And then no matter what, like everybody, there's a big saying in our workout room, the willingness to win doesn't mean crap, right? I'm not going to say it exactly, how it's said, but it doesn't mean if you don't have the willingness to prepare. Yeah. And so we're preparing when we're recruiting, we're preparing in our workouts, we're preparing in our practice planning, we're preparing in our game preparation. So in a lot of ways, from a coach's perspective, our preparation and work is done when we get to games. And then when we get to the games, when it's our guys' time to perform, there might be a few adjustments. There's obviously a few subs that we're making, but so much of it is the preparation. It's in the details. It's not taking anything for granted. The other thing that we really pride ourselves on this program, obviously we love to win. We hate to lose. But the whole goal is to find a way every single day to get a little bit better. And if we can continuously get better, no matter what just happened, if we've had success, if we've had a failure, if we continue to have an attitude to crave improvement, continue to have an attitude of wanting better, that's why our teams, for the better part of it, my tenure here, our tenure here, have been successful in February and March, the most important time of the year.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. And you mentioned success and failure. So I guess it's fair to ask, how do you deal with losses, and how do you help the players deal with losses?
Yeah, I mean, you're competitive, right? And anytime you have a loss, anytime you have a failure, it should frustrate you. It should burn, but it should also motivate you. I can speak from current experiences. We had a different ending this year than we've had the past 9 or 10 years, a disappointing ending, 3 very disappointing lopsided losses, and that burns. It eats at me. It drives me crazy. There's answers out there that you're searching for that you probably never get, which is an empty feeling. However, it's also motivated me to make sure that we don't put ourselves in those situations. It's motivated me to dig deeper into things that I've done, that we've done, to figure out why these things happened. so they don't happen again. The chances are, long enough you're in it, it's going to happen again. That's the reality. But again, it's not how many times you've been knocked down are you going to get judged. Can you continue to stand up one more time than you've gotten knocked down? And that's where that resiliency, that's where that courage of having each other's back comes into play, and a big part of who we are.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, you have been in sport for pretty much all your lives. How does sport impact your leadership, your communication style, your relationship, both personal and professional?
It's just who I am. Again, I don't know any other way just because I've raised. I think there's so many things that happen in a locker room that I wish could be permeated into the world. There are different ages, there are different skin colors, there are different religions, there are different backgrounds, there are different whatever, all coming together for a common goal. And we run our team like a family, like I said, and to be able to do those things and then carry it over some of my experiences that I've learned as a coach into my family, into our girls to help parent them, some of the things that we're doing in our family, some of those, and to talk to our guys about me, about who I am as an individual, who I am as a father, who I am as a husband, for them to see that side of things, to be transparent. Man, I obviously this probably comes as an arrogant statement, Rico, but I truly feel if you've been in coaching, you can do a lot of things. You've sold in recruiting, right? You've been through adversity, you've been through success. You're not scared of a long day. You've had relationships with the various types of different individuals and families. To me, there's just a lot of life experiences that go into it.
Wow, man, it's getting better than I thought.
Yeah. That's the goal right
Way
there.
better than I thought. Yeah. So there's one thing you mentioned here. You recruit. So what are some of the top reasons you would encourage students to participate in sport, even if they don't choose to go for it professional, do it professional?
Well, I don't know if I really can have one, just from a standpoint of there's so many.
Can elaborate on?
Yep. Number one is just the teamwork.
Yeah.
To be a part of a team, to accomplish something that's just bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
And that would be it. We talk about showing up on time, being there early. We talk about hard work. You ready? Write this down. The big secret of how to have success. You ready for this?
Yes.
Work hard.
Work hard.
Right. Everybody thinks there's these, tricks and there's all these things. To me, there aren't any secrets, and you got to work hard, and you got to consistently work hard.
Yeah.
And that's the success. Sometimes this again might sound a little bit crazy. Success sometimes, that initial success isn't necessarily the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
The tough part is sustaining that success. Can you consistently challenge people to continue to get better, no matter what just happened? And we live in such an instant gratification society. We live in this, it's better on the other side. And that's where I have such a ton of respect. And that's where I'm very proud of the young men that are in our program, because they are coached hard. They're challenged every day. And they, for the good part of it, the ones that we want, the ones that we feel that we can provide them their happiness, they continue to stick around and accept those challenges, accept that discipline, because they know that's part of the process of becoming a better man, a better student, and a better player.
Okay. So I once heard a man say, if you deal with everybody the same way, then you're treating both of them wrong or badly. So do you approach each player the same way, or do you have a certain ways of dealing with them, especially when they feel down, maybe after a loss or something?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I learned from my father, many things I've learned from my father, I will treat you all fair. I won't treat you all equally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's impossible, because each of them has different strengths and different weaknesses. Each of them is dealing with certain things, whether that's a failure, a success, a hardship. Each of them plays a different role within the team, and that's part of it. We might, let me give you an example. We might have a starting center who's playing 36 minutes a game and is a little banged up. Well, we might hold him out of a practice, or we might hold him out of a drill in practice to let him recover so he is at his best when it comes to games. So that's where I mean, like it's not all equal from those things. Now, do we coach everybody the same? Do we coach everybody hard? Do we challenge everybody? Is there discipline? Is there love to all that? Absolutely, there better be. And I think that's something that's also made us successful is whether you're quote unquote the best player on the team or the last player on the team from a minutes or talent standpoint, you're going to continuously get coached. You're going to be continuously get challenged for better.
Wow, wonderful. I've been doing this for a little over 3 years now. One thing I'm always fascinated by is learning about moment of professional careers that they feel really they accomplished something. I remember, when they share this moment, and I ask them, how do they feel when you accomplish, some of the things you are most proud of that you accomplished along your, throughout your career. And then I ask her, how did you feel when that happened? So, what is yours?
Boy, I got so many.
You can give me 3.
Yeah. There is the successes on the court.
Yeah.
There's the moment of signing my first contract to become the head coach, to live a dream, to be the head coach of my alma mater. There's winning championships and all those things. But there's also the moments like this summer when I'm going to be able to go fishing, with a former player, and those things. And so I don't know if I have, Rico, just a moment or a specific situation. I think it's so much of this and it's probably the tough part about it is it's all happening so fast. And when you win a tournament, you get that fix, you get that taste, and you want that other one, and it's just right on to the next thing. And that's a good mentality, but you don't always, have the time to stop and smell the roses, so to speak.
Wow, man, I got to ask this because it's really focused on the students. When I go to speak to a group of students, I'm always telling them, look, school have a lot of available resources, and one of the things that you can do in order for you to make the most out of college is getting involved. And sports is probably one of the best place you can get a bunch of skills. So you earlier asked about that a little bit, but I want you to really focus on answering some of the most interesting things that are some benefits that students can benefit from sport while in school.
Well, so I'm a college basketball coach, and so that obviously is sports. But my oldest daughter is in theater. She's in drama and she's in dance. And so I'm not going to sit here today and pigeonhole just into sports, right? To your question. But anytime you're involved with a group, anytime you're involved with a team, anytime you have more than one individual working towards a common goal, to me, that's just going to benefit you tremendously. And what comes of that? It comes with relationships. It comes with having to work with somebody that you have a difference of opinion in, and mesh your thoughts. Again, there's just so many life skills. My marriage, right? It's not 50-50. It's not 50 what my wife wants. It's not 50 what I want. Sometimes it's 90-10. Sometimes it's 15-85. Sometimes it's 40-60. Sometimes, and a lot of times, if I'm being honest, it's 0 and 100. Yeah, exactly. You know where it's going. But there's just a lot of, and I'm careful too at times because there's so many things that happen in my workplace. There's so many things that happen in our office. There's so many things that happen in our locker room that I feel like I have a really good understanding of how a family and life works because of that, and I bring that coaching home, so to speak. I also need to make sure I'm a parent too, and that's a challenge. It's something that's definitely on my mind too as I'm going home at night.
Wonderful. So earlier we were talking about losses, and it gets to that question because we didn't wait to talk about the challenges. I frame the conversation sometimes in 3 parts. How do you get to where you are, what you love about what you do, and also the challenges. Because and one of the reasons why I love talking about the challenges is because you get to learn a lot through challenges done when you were having a blast because you win, right? So what are some of the top challenges you're facing in as a coach?
Oh, there are losses in games, and those are challenging. With becoming the head coach at North Dakota State, a place that has expectations, it has high standards from the administration, from the fans and all those things. There's people saying negative things about you. The probably the biggest challenge for me though is sitting down with a young man after the season and something that they've worked their entire lives for 18, 19 years and telling them just don't think they're quite good enough or they just don't quite have a place in your program. And that's a very, very challenging thing because it's maybe nothing they've done, maybe nothing they could have done. But the reality, you talk about leadership, is there's a lot of decisions, Rico, I say this a lot, there's a lot of decisions that Dave Richman, the head coach, makes that Dave Richman, the person, doesn't like to make. Yeah. And I need to continue to put my focus on not what I want to do, but what I think is in the best interest of the program. And with that comes some really tough conversations. With that, put yourself on an island a little bit. And that's part of being a leader. You can't be afraid to hold people accountable. In fact, I don't want to be in a room where people don't want to be held accountable. Criticism is such a punch to the gut initially. Yeah. But if you step back and you're able to regain your balance from that criticism, it can really be beneficial. I know it's the same way after a loss. I know it's the same way with anything. And, those are part of the responsibilities, that I assume when I wear the title of head coach.
Yeah. So you mentioned criticism. I am always curious. Do you have certain ways that you can suggest that people deal generally with criticism based on what you've learned so far from working with players?
Well, I think it's a couple things. One, we talk about 24 hours in the day, and so for 22 hours of that day, Rico, we're establishing loving, trusting relationships, putting our arms around our guys, telling them we love them, and investing in who they are as people, investing who they are as students. So for that 2 hours a day, whether it be a game or practice, we can really coach and challenge them hard. It's still love, but it's a message of tough love, if that makes sense. And so with that, puts you in a challenging spot where, man, we've done some great things. And this coach is always on me for better and better and better. Yeah. And that's where you have to have those deep, authentic, trusting, transparent relationships to know, hey, what we did is great. It's awesome. Enjoy it. Enjoy it for 12 hours. Enjoy it for 24 hours. But now what's next? And I think sometimes that's easy to do, to move on when you have a loss. As crazy as it sounds, like, okay, now you're motivated, you're lost, you're hungry. Well, that's been a big part of our MO is no matter what happened on Friday and Saturday, or, a lot of times we play our games on Saturday afternoon, Monday's a work day. And we're going right back, and we're going to go just as hard or harder than we did the week before.
Wow. Okay, so I was told that both wins and losses bring motivation. In your experience, which one bring the most motivation?
Probably winning.
Winning bring the most.
Yeah, I mean, I hate losing. Yeah. But to experience that taste of winning a Summit League Conference tournament, of playing in the NCAA tournament, winning games in the NCAA tournament, being able to advance and play a game on national television against, Duke and Coach Krzyzewski, the all-time winningest coach, that winning, that success that afforded us those opportunities is something you want to experience again. Am I splitting hairs a little bit? Probably, absolutely, because I hate to lose, and so that motivates me not to lose or us not to lose. But just having that taste, that thrill of victory, so to speak, the cliche, motivates you to go back and get that.
Wow. Earlier I was thinking about when you were talking about when the players are getting ready for the way you push the players. Sometimes, are you able to spot a player with in a different state of mind? Maybe they have something that they don't want to share. You know what I mean? So it's you see they are not fully there. They're not fully focused. Is that something you develop? Is that a skill that you develop to see that, or do you get to notice that when they are on the field?
No, that's. I mean, again, maybe it sounds arrogant. I don't know if it's necessarily a skill, but the way we do things, Rico, this is a family. Yeah. And so you have a daughter, you said, right? You can sense or feel when something's off. Yeah. By the way they walk around the house, by the way they talk, by the way they don't talk, by the way they look, right? We are around our guys so much that you can tell. Yeah. And again, a lot of times they're in a pleasing mode. They want to please the coach because they want to, and they want to play and all that. And so they're going to hide some things. And so number one, we have to sense it, but you have to be willing to dig and then dig a little deeper. Something's off. No, coach, I'm fine. No. Let's stop. Let's take a breath here. What's going on? To really dive in and know, for them to know you care about them as a person, for their name, right? Not just for the number on their uniform, not just for the points or the rebounds that they get. We're firm believers that the success that you have on the court is because of your safety, your security, your comfort level off the court.
Well, earlier I wanted to ask about this when we were talking about, sometimes social media. Do you advise the players not to watch comments on social media, especially when they have loss, when they make a mistake?
It probably sounds very hypocritical because I took a tweet today and texted to our guys that are around, and it was one of the starters for UConn who has no social media. If I'm being transparent, which I always am, I don't like social media.
I couldn't find you on LinkedIn.
No, I'm not on LinkedIn. I'm a little bit on Twitter. Almost because it's a necessary evil.
That's why I asked the question, because I couldn't find you on LinkedIn. Usually, to do a little research on the guest, you got to check on LinkedIn, because that's where the professional side is.
Yep. No, I'm not too much of a self promoter. There's some things as the head coach from a marketing standpoint that I need to continue to do and follow suit with what our marketing asks. But I can probably honestly tell you, if I wasn't doing what I was doing, and there's so much information, quick information on the, on X or Twitter or whatever we're calling it now, I prefer not to be on it. I think it takes you down some rabbit holes. I think you're comparing yourself to fraudulent information. I think there's a lot of crap out there. Is there some good? Absolutely. I just said that. But I think definitely moderation, and less is more.
Okay, well, do you advise them not to do it, or do it in moderation?
I know my audience, so it would definitely be, in a perfect world, not to do it.
Not to do
it.
Okay.
But again, instead of going from 0 to 60, let's stop at 30 and find that moderation piece.
Wonderful. So we talk about, your accomplishments as a coach and your challenges that you face. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, it's really, this program is really to help young professionals. So what advice would you have for somebody launching their careers when it comes to, even if they're not in sport, right, trying to accomplish something great? Because yesterday I post Tony Greenberg. He's a former state senator. So, and then we were talking about that, how sometimes social media kind of amplify things and get people anxious, giving them a lot of anxiety. So since we were talking about social media, so I'm asking you this now. So what advice would you have for young professionals who are launching their careers, what they should do to find success?
Create your own path, look the man in the mirror, and just put one foot in front of the other.
Wow.
And so just got back from Phoenix, and my wife and I and a couple other couples, we climbed a mountain, and it was exhausting. It was very tough, and you would go up a little bit and you would pause and you would catch your breath, and then you would see another, let's just go up to that cactus. And we went up a little bit farther, and it was tough, and your heart's going, and you're starting to lose breath because you're getting higher, and we pause a little bit, and then you get a little bit farther, and all of a sudden you have one more little piece and you're to the very top. And what seems so daunting is when you just look straight up and feel like you have to go immediately from A to B. And I think that's where we're losing a lot of young people in particular. No one's willing to tackle. No one's willing to enjoy. No one's willing to accept the challenges and the successes of the journey. And I think it's so important to just take one step, put it in front of the other, and then look back and see truly how far you've come. And to do that, you have to make sacrifices. To do that, you have to be willing to work a little bit harder. And I think the biggest thing, and you and I talked to, we're maybe, but is to find something not that you like, that you love. Find something that you love. And I absolutely love what I do. There is stress, there is time, there is inconvenience, there is hardship. But I talk to my wife all the time because I love it, because of the fix that it provides me. I truly and firmly believe it makes me a better husband and a better father. As much as I'm away and all those things, it's all part of that journey, and I truly enjoy it.
Well, I know we stressed for a little bit of on time here, but if that's the question I get a lot from students, how do I figure out what I truly love to do? How does that? I don't know.
I think it's really simple. What do you like to do? What are you doing right now that puts a smile on your face? Is it on social media and there's someone doing podcasts? Like, start your own, right? Mm-hmm. Is it gaming? There's a lot of guys that game. Find a fix with IT. Is it sports? Is it youth? Is it business? Is it numbers? What intrigues you? What class do you enjoy going to? Mm-hmm. What classes are you excelling in? Start there. Don't chase a dollar. I remember when we first got married and living in an apartment and getting this raise, and man, I thought I'm making so much money, and it's pennies compared to what I'm making now. But I'm still right now barely know how much I'm making because my wife takes it all, and I continue to go and do exactly what I do. Right? It's not about the money. It's not, and I think the older you get, the more you realize those things. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in the world. I'm a big Brothers Osborne fan, the country group, and they talk about how you can't take a U-Haul to your funeral. Yep. Just live life doing something that you enjoy doing, and probably just as important or more, around people you enjoy doing it with. And if you're not, get uncomfortable. And what I mean by getting uncomfortable is get away from it. Mm-hmm. And it might suck for 4 months. It might suck. It might be really uncomfortable. It might be really challenging for 6 months, but you're not happy. You're going to have regrets if you continue to stay. Get out of your comfort zone and challenge yourself to that next step.
Wow, man, that's a wonderful spot to really, stop the show. I really like the last few words that you mentioned there. Really get out of your comfort zone and, just find what you love. And right now, I think that's the question, right? So how do you use what you love to make a living and all these follow-up questions? But time maybe for
absolutely
for a different time. So we get to the last 2 minutes of the show. What are some of the few words that you have for the professional lunch audience?
Work hard, show up with a great attitude, and have fun doing it. There aren't any secrets. There really aren't. And enjoy something, and figure out what you enjoy and chase that. And life is too short. There's too many other things going on to have regret at something you're going to spend so much time with and work. And chase a passion, chase the journey. Don't chase a dollar sign. And all of a sudden, you're probably going to end up making more money than you thought anyways. Yep. And there are, especially in this society, there are a lot of quick fixes. Mm-hmm. But I'm a big believer in a lot of times those quick fixes are very short term. They're very pleasure based, not happiness based.
Wow. Wonderful. Dave, thank you so much for being on the Professional Lunch today. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
I appreciate you doing this.
Wonderful. I hope maybe in the future I get to visit the camp, the basketball team and comes to see you and get to know the team a little bit better.
We would love that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, this is the part that I tell you. It's up to you to make today a great day. Have a great day. Wonderful. Thank you.
Good stuff?
Yes.